Hello. It's wonderful Wednesday hump day. Is it Wednesday? Wait, yeah, it is Wednesday. Okay, it's Wednesday. I'm thinking, is it Wednesday? Is it Tuesday? You know, sometimes you just lose track of the days because you're having so much fun. Yeah. Anybody out there today? If you're out there, please say, hey, Liz Dawn. And we're jamming here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we had quite the amazing thunderstorms for the past week. It's really been kind of fabulous. Every time it rains out here, I feel like Mother Earth is going, at last, because we don't get a ton of rain the way, other places in the country do. And so, when it rains out here, I feel like Mother Earth is like, yes, it's so fabulous. And all the animals, I really worry about all the animals because it gets so wicked hot out here. Like we saw a coyote walking by our window the other day before we actually had the rains. And this poor coyote, I want you to go and give it some water. No, I didn't do that. Don't worry. I didn't go near the coyote. And the coyote, you could just tell it was just so hot. It was like panting, searching around for some water or something. And we leave water in our backyard. But I'm thinking there's got to be another way to help get water to the animals, right? So, hello. Who's here? Okay, so I see Lupita. Hello, Lupita, and Shauna Fisher, and someone who said hello, but it says Facebook user. And then I see Elias and Salima and Vicky and Facebook user and Shauna. Somebody's saying watching between calls. Who is that? Who is saying they're watching between calls? And so, hi, Liz from Rachel. So just so you're aware, I'm live right now on 8 different platforms. So if you're wondering where I'm seeing these comments, is I'm using a platform called Streamyard. And so we are live on my personal page. We're live on all of the CYL business pages and groups. And we're also live on our YouTube channel. And hello from Nova Scotia. Oh, I got some really, really good news yesterday about Canada. Some really, really good news. And Debbie, you're in Connecticut. Oh, you and Rachel are in Connecticut. You and Rachel Elizabeth are in Connecticut. How cool. I love Connecticut. It's beautiful there. Okay, so here's some good news about Canada. On September 7th, now I haven't verified this myself, so I've heard this through third party, through one of our amazing speakers. Colette Barron-Reed texted me yesterday and said, OMG, the US is opening up travel from Canada to the United States on September 7th. And if somebody wants to verify to make sure Colette and I have accurate information, let me know. From Australia, hi Vera. Oh, Cynthia, Liz darling. Yes, I want to come to Connecticut because it's probably got to be at least a little cooler there than it is here. Although, again, I'm not complaining because we had just had like a week long of monsoons. That's what we call them out here, monsoons, and the wind blows and trees are uprooted from their roots and things are flying all over, and God is like saying, yeah, let's rock and roll, friends. So it was very, very cool. Oh, I love you too, Justin. So good to see you. All right. Do I already have GTTR? Just get letters together and you'll love it. I don't have I don't know what GTTR is. I could have it. Who knows what it is? Okay. 10 inches of rain for July. Fabulous. I just think it's fabulous. We love the rain here. We need the rain here. Our animals need the rain here. So we've been real happy about that. Okay. So chilly 70s, I know, right? Okay, so I'm going to talk today about entrepreneurialism. Is that a word? Entrepreneurialism. Can you say that? So I want to talk a little bit about being an entrepreneur and how many of you out there, I'd love to know how many of you out there are entrepreneurs. And do you even know the definition of an entrepreneur? So I So I have a business coach. Yes, I have a business coach, and I love him. He's fabulous. And he and I were talking, and he said to me, Liz, I want you to write an essay all about what you love about being an entrepreneur. And I said, well, I'm not an entrepreneur. And he said, well, why don't you just sit down and write about it? So the first thing I needed to do was find out what is the definition of an entrepreneur, because I always thought the definition of an entrepreneur was someone who creates business after business after business, and they're creating just inventions, or they're creating new products like all the time, right? So I went and looked at the actual definition. I went somewhere into the recesses of our library and looked at the definition in the dictionary of an entrepreneur, and also on Wikipedia, on several things I looked up, because I had this writing assignment I had to do, right? So the entrepreneur, right? So I discovered I'm an entrepreneur. After 26 years, I am now stepping into saying, I'm an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur is someone who takes the financial risk over and over again and creates either inventions or products or anything they're putting out into the world, and they continuously take financial risks and also reap financial gains from the risk that they're taking. And someone who creates this on their own. What else did some of the other resources say? They create innovative products, new kinds of things to the world. So I'm now able to say I'm really an entrepreneur, because of course I've been doing this for 26 years. And it looks like some of you are. Shauna, you are. Rachel, you are. Elias, you are. Juliana, you are. Steve Hardison, you definitely are. Hi, Steve Hardison. And so many of you are definitely entrepreneurs. And so then I started to look up, what are the characteristics of an entrepreneur? Okay, you ready? So here are the 13 characteristics of an entrepreneur. Drum roll, please. So let me know if this is you. And you could say whether number 1 is you, number 2 is you, number 3 is you. So number 1, are you number 1, self-motivated? Are you number 1, self-motivated? Let's see in the comments. Number 2, are you open-minded? Number 2 is open-minded. Number 3 is curious. I'd love to see what you are in the comments. Like, I'm definitely self-motivated, open-minded, curious. Number 4, definitely proactive. Number 4 is proactive. So this one I was really curious about. Number 5 is health conscious. Number 5 is health conscious. And that was an interesting one for me, because I had to step back, because I know that being health conscious throughout my life has changed. It's morphed. I used to work out a lot more, and I'm moving back into that again. Definitely pay attention to what I eat. Didn't used to. Now I do a lot more. 5, not as much. But I think one of the reasons that they have this on this particular list that I was reading about is because being health conscious, also, we have to rely on ourselves. So entrepreneurs have to rely on ourselves 100%. And if we're not up and open and ready to go and feeling good and energized and exercising and keeping our bodies in shape, then we don't have the energy to put forth to our businesses, that we don't have the energy, the focus, the mindset, the feeling good, the empowerment to put forth to your business. So you'll find a lot of entrepreneurs really into working out, really into taking care of their bodies. And if this is an area that maybe you slip a little bit in, then maybe it's something to start paying attention to a little bit better, to create that strong body, because we know you've got a strong spirit. We know you've got a strong mind. Now it's also bringing the body into an alignment as well. Number 6, creative. Oh, yep. How many of you are creative? Amen to that, sister. Exactly. Definitely amen to that for me too. Oh, I love you said that, Juliana. I just wrote something about that, because we learned everything personal is business as we are our business. Yeah, I've been told over and over again, Liz, don't take this personally. It's just business. Yeah, no, we'll talk about that in a second. Number 7, persuasive. Yes. How many of you are persuasive? Creative, yes. Good. Shauna, Juliana, Vicky, excellent. Definitely creative, Rachel. Absolutely. How many of you are persuasive? Number 7. Number 8. Oh, definitely. Number 8. I love this one. Brave. 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 Courageous. Brave, courageous. Sometimes I fall, but yeah, definitely brave, courageous. Let's see how many. Your insurance broker for 41 years, Vicky. Yes, definitely brave. Oh, and definitely persuasive. Yes. Number 9, team oriented. Team oriented. This was something I had to learn because I started out in the company with just me and my mom and a little assistant, a little helper, an office person. I had to learn how to expand, be more team oriented, learning how to trust the people that I have around me, giving them autonomy to take care of the job at hand and not be so controlling. So I've certainly learned how to do that. But it did not come naturally for me. How many of you team oriented? How many of you have that? I mean, I love being part of the team, and of course now that we've really created a really solid team. But in the beginning, that was a little bit hard for me. Okay, Salima, good. So maybe an area just to work on a little bit, being team oriented. Number 10. Oh, I love this one, you guys. Number 10, youthful. Youthful. Like when I think about all of you, because I know so many of you, when I think about so many of you, like who are answering, I could definitely say you're youthful, very like childlike, very playful, very fun, very energetic, very like giggly. Yes, definitely youthful, playful, fun. How many of you? Absolutely. And I could say that because I know all of you. So definitely I can say that about all of you as well. And number 11, humble. Humble, not to be confused with self-deprecating. Humble, ingratitude, humble, humility. How many of you feel like you're number 11? Humble. Yes, definitely. Number 12. Number 12 I have to work on. Punctual. Punctual. Yes, that's something I have to work on. How many of you are punctual? Humble and kind. Yes, Vicky. Juliana, definitely humble. Elias, I know you're humble. Humble for sure. I still get super excited when anyone buys my trees. Yeah, I'm the same way when people start purchasing for any of our programs or any of our products or anything we've created. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's like, whew. People come to me and say, look what you've created. I'm like, okay. There's a certain level of humility. Oh, Juliana, good. You're punctual. Good. Rachel, you're not. An area to work on. An area to work on. That's all. Number 13, humorous. Humorous. Well, I don't know if I'm humorous. I love laughing. How about you guys? Do you think you're humorous? Do you love laughing? Like what does that mean? A good sense of humor? So number 13, I wasn't sure about. And there was those other 2 that I did need to work on. So definitely punctual. Okay, so you said something really wonderful a ways back here, Juliana, and you talked about business being personal. So I have heard throughout my career, when things have happened, when someone has done something that is not necessarily so much in alignment in the way I would like to run my business. And I heard this over and over again. Don't take it personally. It's just business. Don't take it personally. It's just business. Well, I have a very, very hard time with that. And that's something that I don't know about you, all of you, and I'd love to hear your input about that. When someone says to you, don't take it personally, it's just business. Well, my business is very personal to me. Now, do I take it personally? Yes, I have in the past, and I've learned to not take things personally, as Don Miguel talks about, don't take things personally. I think it's number 2 agreement in the 4 agreements. And of course, Wayne Dyer used to talk about not taking things personally. But the way I take it personally is my business is kind of my baby. And when all my friends were off getting married and having children and doing the family thing, I was insanely focused on creating Mishka productions. I mean, I was living and eating and breathing Mishka productions for at least the first 10 years. And there are times I still do that where I live, eat, and breathe Mishka productions. So yes, it is personal in terms of it's our passion. Our businesses are our passion. They are our loves. They are, what we live for, our creativity. We go to bed at night thinking about it. We wake up in the morning thinking about it, right? I mean, how many of you have experienced that? Where you're going to bed and you've got all these creative ideas running through you, and you wake up refreshed with creative ideas, and you can't wait to go sit at your desk because you're excited. Even through the muck and the mire and the things that we don't enjoy doing, I still love getting up in the morning and sitting at my desk and working on what I've created. After 26 years, I can say that. Wow. Yeah, Lynn, I hate it. I hate it too. But I've learned not to take things as personally to me about Liz as Liz. But when someone does something to my business or does something that negatively affects my business, yeah, I'm like a little bit of a mama bear. You betcha I am. I'm like extremely protective. And anybody who's ever worked with me or been around me knows that. Like they know, because one of my top 5 core values for anybody on my team and anybody that I do work with is loyalty. I know that about myself. And I let people know that if you're coming in the front door and you're going to be working with us, or you're going to be working with us at an event, or one of my staff members, you need to know my core value. And that is loyalty. That is honesty and loyalty and integrity. So Vicky says, yes, business is my baby. I created it and I still put in the 12 to 14 hours a day. Understand. Love that. Absolutely. Yes. So in knowing that, yes, our businesses are our babies, and yes, we have a tendency to take these things personally, it's also a skill to learn to let the criticism roll off, to let the judgments roll off. Now, you would think I'm absolutely in a spiritual business, and just because I'm in a spiritual business doesn't mean that I slip and fall and I screw up. I mean, how many of you have, you're all in spiritual businesses? I can see by the names coming up. I know that you're all in spiritual businesses. We all slip and fall. It's how we deal with it and how we make amends to the people that we slip and fall with. And I've been criticized a lot. I've been criticized a whole lot. I've heard like little murmurings out there in the community, and people like talk behind your back and all that stuff. And it's like, okay. So what I've learned to do, and it's not easy, I'm not saying this is easy, I have learned to stay in my lane. And again, that's not easy to do. But when I hear somebody comes to me and say, did you hear what so-and-so said about you? Or did you hear the criticism over here? Or did you hear just this judgment, gossip kind of stuff, right? Gossip, nitpickies. And I'll talk about constructive criticism in a second, Juliana. You're bringing up such good points today. But it's staying in your lane and knowing and standing in your own integrity. I mean, I have heard things out there in the community that have come back to me that I'm like, where in the world did that person get that from? Like, they're so far off from who I am and how I operate. Like, you could say something like, Liz can be really highly emotional or too passionate sometimes, or at times explosive. That would be a true statement. That would absolutely be a true statement. But sometimes we hear things that aren't, they're really often out of alignment with who we are. And it's shocking. And I have just learned to just smile and just let it roll off and stand true in my own integrity, in my own knowingness of running my business for 26 years. And I hope you all do this too, in running your business for whether it's 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, 26 years, it doesn't matter. You are the creator of that business. You are the creator of this innovation. You are the creator of this process. And only you know what's in alignment with your creation. That's it. You don't need approval or the okay of anybody else. Now, do I go out and get opinions? Absolutely. I get tons of opinions. And I remember I had a staff member get so frustrated with me once because I would ask her opinion and then I would do something else because I knew in my heart what was right action. I knew. And I typically know what is right in taking right action. Sometimes I don't always. Sometimes I mess up. Sometimes I don't make the best decisions, right? How many of you can feel that, can sense that? When I'm talking about when people come to you and you know that there's like little murmurings or criticizing and etc. But you're able to maintain your own energy. You're able to maintain your own groundedness, your own center, your own core values, and remembering your core values and why you do what you do in the world. Why you've created this business, why you've stepped out and become a spiritual leader in the community, why you've decided to design a beautiful line of jewelry, why you've stepped out and said, I am a spiritual medium, I am a psychic, I am a clairvoyant, I am a teacher in my own right. And you have to keep coming back to that because I've been led astray, definitely been led astray from what I knew was in taking right action and let other people lead. Now, is it important to listen? Absolutely. Constructive criticism or constructive feedback? Absolutely. It's been enormously helpful for me with staff members, with friends, with people who have come to our events. I read and we have thousands and thousands and thousands of feedback forms from all of our events for 26 years. And I keep every single one and I read every single one. After an event, I'm going through, after we send out the feedback forms and we get them via email and they come to me directly. I know that's a little crazy because I should use SurveyMonkey, but I love when I get those surveys back and I get to read, what can I do better? How can I be a stronger event producer? What can I do better to serve? So all of you, I mean, just remember, it's not necessarily about people criticizing or shaming you or trying to put you down, but there are ways you can go, and be very self-reflective. Being self-reflective. That's the other way that we as entrepreneurs can grow and can learn and to really key in, what does my audience want? Don't worry about anybody else out there that's criticizing or judging you. Focus on your people. What does your audience want? What are they interested in learning and growing? How can you best serve your people? All right, let me take a look at some of your comments in here. My falls have taught me so much. Yes, maintaining my own energy and believe in the law of attraction. The universe has sent me incredible clientele. Beautiful, Vicky. You're not going to please everyone all of the time. I'm waiting for that event where every single feedback form is 100%. It's just never going to happen because there's always going to be an oops. Someone's experience may have been, really lousy with one of the staff members and everybody else's was really fantastic. So you never know. Yes, being grounded in your own values has not always been easy, but it's always been meaningful. Ending my recent relationship was about staying true to my own values. Exactly. We do that in relationships. We do that in business relationships with staff members, with employees, with team people, with people you're partnering with. Absolutely making certain that it doesn't make anybody else wrong. Please understand that. It doesn't make anybody else wrong. It's just, this is your baby, your business. You're an entrepreneur. This is your baby and learning how to stay in your lane. Really important. Okay. Sometimes I struggle with keeping focus, becoming more conscious and aware of it. So Shauna, what I do, this is a good point. So today I had to do some tasks that are annoying to me. They're just annoying. They're not my favorite things to do. And we all have them. How many of you have tasks in your business? And what tasks are they? I'd love to see what tasks they are that just grate on you, that are annoying for you to do, that you just don't like, that you're not looking forward to as much as maybe some other tasks that you have to do. What are some of them? For me, it's sometimes sitting down and having to write emails, or having to write emails to our audience and figuring out the way to describe things. I don't always have the language. Taxes. I love that. Working with numbers. Yeah, well, I hire somebody to do that for me because that's how much I don't like it. I make sure that I can hire someone to do the big pieces like taxes, like bookkeeping, things like that. But what I do when I'm up against something, when I'm really coming up against something where I just cannot get through this task, is that I allot time to it. So I say, okay, I'm going to take an hour or 2 hours, however long I think it's going to take me to complete this task. And then after that task, all right, after that task, I put in another task that I love doing, something that I absolutely love doing. So I have to sit down and write a lot of copy or write a lot of things or do the design. Actually, I do love fixing for things on our website. I actually love doing that, or going in and fussing with things, or I love the creation of it and contacting the hotels and what are we going to do next and talking to the speakers and what do you want to do here and how about, I love doing that. So I'll make sure that I've got that task after that task that I'm not so fond of. And I just put my big girl panties on and I just plow through it. And when I'm done with that, and when I'm done with the task that I'm not as fond of, I feel so great. Like, think about it. Don't you feel fantastic? Every time you do something, every time you get through that task and you get to check it off your list. And Tanya knows this. Tanya's my assistant and she knows this. I love checking things off my to-do list. I love it. Like, I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, yay. I just get so excited. You have to be your own cheerleader, right? How many of you you have to be your own cheerleader, because there isn't a boss, there isn't an employer patting you on the back. So we have to learn how to do it for ourselves and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. Tenacity. That's another quality of being an entrepreneur, being tenacious. And that should be number 14. Actually, that should be number 1. I'm going to make my own list. Tenacity. Tenacity. Oh yeah, there's also tenacity. And it's not being tenacious in an angry way, but just not giving up, being able to have the fortitude to keep going. So even when you have those tasks that you don't like, the reward for me is, because I have everything on a Google Drive, right? So I put all my to-do list on there, and Tanya is forever adding things to my to-do list, which can get exhausting when I look at it. When I get to go in and I get to click that format button and go to text and go to strike through and just cross that out, I feel so good. And then eventually it jumps off the list. But I like that, actually crossing it off. My mom taught me that, because she taught me to make, when we first started out in business, I had no idea what we were doing. I had no idea how to run a business. And she would make these to-do lists. And yes, the to-do lists can be as long as your left arm. It's okay, but you're checking things off. You're crossing things off. And that kinesthetic experience of crossing it off on my list is like magic for me. So for the tasks that are not your favorite, I schedule an appointment on my calendar for that task. I handle it like an appointment. That is perfect. That is perfect. Yay. Okay, so this is the journey of an entrepreneur, part 1, which means that there will be a part 2 and maybe a part 3. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me that I've been through in all these years of running my own business, please let me know, and I'll talk about that subject. I'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. So in the meantime, I am going to put up here, how many of you don't know that we're doing the Sedona event? So we're getting back in action, and I am super excited about it. I just put that in the, I just put it in the chat. So we are getting back in action. I am over the moon, orgasmically excited. I cannot wait. We've actually got our first very small event in Skamania with Dr. Sue Morter coming up on August 11th through the 15th. I've got 2 spaces left if anybody wants a ticket to that. I think it says 10 on the website, but it's really only 2. And I think I've got 1 extra room at the hotel. So if anybody, it says on the website, there's no rooms at the hotel, but if you're listening and you want a room at the hotel and you want to attend, just private message me if anybody wants to come to the Skamania. But other than Skamania, we're doing Sedona. So we're doing Celebrate Your Life Sedona retreat. Yeah! So excited. Okay. So we're doing Celebrate Your Life Sedona at Enchantment Resort on November 4th through the 8th. The theme of this particular retreat is something I came up with, and it's mystic. I'm taking credit for it. How cool is that? Mystics, miracles, and magic. It is all about the unseen, the magical, mystical realms around us. And one of the reasons I decided on this theme was because I was personally getting really tired of listening to all the drama that's going on around the world right now. I think we've all had enough of this heaviness. We've all had enough of the conversation, the arguments, the criticisms, everything else. And so I wanted something that's magical and fun and joy-filled. So it's mystics, miracles, and magic is the theme of it all. And Colette Barron-Reed will be there, and she's going to be talking all about how to use oracle cards, how to ask the right questions. John Holland will be there, spiritual medium, talking about communication with the spirit world and talking about your soul's journey. Sunny Dawn Johnston will be there. Yay! And she'll be doing a workshop all about angels. I told Sunny, I said, look, it's all angels. It's all the etheric realms. How do we call them in? How do we call them in to support us? And Sonia Choquette is coming all the way from Paris. Yay! So Sonia Choquette is flying into the United States just for this event. And she's going to be talking about invoking your spirit guides and invoking new light beings into your life and how to communicate with their spirit guides. And then we've got Matt Kahn, who's going to be talking all about unconditional love and your divine presence and staying in that place of divine love, of divine presence. And then, of course, the fabulous Dr. Sue Morter, who will be talking all about healing, all about energy healing, all about embracing your magnificent self and what does that look like and how to do it. So yes, come be with us. And to address what's going on with the world in terms of health, I don't want to say that word. Anyway, what's going on with the world? We're only taking 50% of what we normally do. So we're only taking 150 people. That's it. We normally sell out for this program. If you register before August 20th, we've got all kinds of great special bonus packages that we're offering. So get in on those freebies. I love free stuff. So we put together a really awesome bonus package. So make sure and check that out. All right, everybody. That's it for today. Any questions? Nothing else? All right, excellent. When is part 2 and 3 so I can put it on my calendar? That's a really great question, Rachel Elizabeth. And this Friday, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't announce it. So this Friday, and I'll answer your question in a second. This Friday, I'm going to be live on Facebook at 1 p.m. Pacific with the amazing Anita Morjani. This Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, I'm going to be live with Anita, and we're going to be talking all about her amazing book, Sensitive is the New Strong. And if I can, next Wednesday, I will do part 2. Okay? All right, everybody, that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Have a fabulous, fabulous day, evening. Remember, you are a divine, beautiful light beam, and embrace your soul. Stay in your lane. That's the message for today. Stay in your lane. Okay. Mwah!